let's get into the charts. So here's what I've got set up right now on my chart. I've got August range here. Okay, this seems to be the most pertinent range. You could take September's range, which is here to here. So that's September's low, that's September's high. So both ranges are relevant. So initially, we had this move up, we came down, and we came right into the order block that I had marked. But I'm going to go back to our August range. I'll show you why in a second here. Came down to the order block. We discussed the long, right? I don't need to go over that again. You guys know why I longed. My initial TP was above these highs here, and I closed early. It is what it is. I said, hey, this is resistance here. Not just because of this H12, but if you look here, we also have this as a breaker. So if you go to the daily chart, what do two 12-hour candles together? What's 12 plus 12? 24. What is 24? It's a daily. So if I were to mark out these two candles, there's a good chance that on the daily, that's one candle. Look how that works. So even ignoring that H12 level there, we have this daily breaker here. The reason I think that this is important, and the same reason why I'm using August range, is because we took out August high here, right? So here's August high, swept it, broke below, took out all these lows, market structure break. So this, if we're going to put in a lower high here, like if we're doing this and we're putting in one of these, this is where it forms. So that's why I thought that this was a good TP spot. We ran August high. This is the breaker that took that key liquidity. You also have the H12 order block, blah, blah, blah. So I talked about this in yesterday's YouTube update, right? I said, hey, this is where I would TP if I was still in that long. And we have a fresh 12-hour block here. So I said, maybe we get a retest of this little 12-hour order block. And then that's another higher low here for higher prices. That is what I'm watching right now. We're getting a reaction there. You can throw on Monday's range, and we're now trading below Monday's low, right? This is that order block right there, that white line. So if we're able to trade below Monday's low, okay, early in the day, so the candle closes in 10 minutes. So this looks like what Monday's low is going to be. So we have this H12 order block here, and we have Monday's low within it. So if you're looking for a potential long, if we get some sort of move early in the day or tomorrow in New York and we trade below Monday's low and then we reclaim it, right? This is your long. You enter here and your stop goes here. So that's what I'm going to be watching on the day trading side for tomorrow. Now, the other thing you want to look at here, SPX, right? It's already swept Monday's low, okay? And it had a down day. So Bitcoin actually was quite resilient today based on how weak SPX was, right? So, you know, we had a full percent down on SPX, but it could be a very similar setup, right? Where we below Monday's low, we get back above, and then we trade back to Monday's high. So that's something to watch on both Bitcoin and ES for tomorrow. Now looking at Bitcoin again here, and we'll zoom in one more level here. On the H4, we actually have had a sweep and an MSB here on this candle close. So if we get this candle close here in 8 minutes below this low, which is looking decently likely right now, this then becomes a bearish H4 breaker. And if we go back to the daily and we move this to here, now we have an H4 sweep within that daily breaker after an H4 MSB. So now going down to like the M15 or the M30 even, we could potentially have some sort of scalp here for downside, right? Here's your M30 breaker. We could get a move up here and then a move down here, something like that. So that's also a possibility. So I'm going to be watching closely. If we bounce here, I would maybe consider shorting with a stop above here. If we just trade lower, but then we reclaim Monday's low, that would be a long trigger for me. So those are the two short-term trading ideas that I'm watching right now. That H4 setup and then the Monday's range setup. But we are into some demand here, but we're kind of sandwiched between resistance as well. So a little bit of a sticky spot, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to be okay. Now, a lot of people saw Benjamin Blunt's smart contractor, whatever his handle is these days, his post about, you know, this being a bear trap, bearish OTE right here, right? So if you pull from here to here, that's right smack dab into the bearish OTE. And you had a lot of meme coins put in very similar moves. moves, right? Clear lower highs, but everyone's euphoric into them. The other thing that he brought up was looking at equities. So if you look at the weekly, now I don't really use RSI, okay? That's not something I personally use. However, we have a big bearish divergence on the weekly here on the RSI. So you have higher highs on price and lower highs on the RSI. And the dollar has the inverse happening, okay? The dollar had lower lows on the weekly in price and higher lows on the RSI. So I don't personally use RSIs. However, you can use RSI divergences in confluence with your price action. Absolutely. Just because I don't use them, it does not mean that they're not valuable. And oftentimes, when you see an RSI divergence, it will happen around a key area in price action. So if we look in history here on ES, the amount of times that we've had bearish divergences on the weekly, like here, right? Generally not good. And bullish divergences, right, have played out on the weekly. Now, this is the weekly time frame. This takes a long time to play out, but it's something to consider. With crypto still not a higher high by my metrics, right? We're still trading within this price leg, in my opinion. So as much as we made the higher high here, this is an internal market structure shift, and this could just be a deviation. We're still within this price leg. So within this price leg, if we're going to put in a lower high, this wouldn't be a terrible place to do it. So you still got to keep that in mind, along with the RSI divergences on equities being at all-time high, potentially showing some weakness, and the dollar reclaiming that weekly range here, reclaiming this range. So we closed below, closed back in, went all the way to the high. This looks eerily similar to this, does it not? But in the inverse, everyone thought the dollar is going to break out, right back in, all the way to the bottom. Everyone thought it was going to break down, it's right back in. Maybe we go back to the top. If we trade back up to here on the dollar, I don't see that as being good for risk assets personally. Doesn't mean it's a one-to-one inverse correlation all the time. So when you talk about credible crypto being bearish and things like that, these are things that people are paying attention to. It doesn't mean that we're still not going to go up high time frame. I've said this every day this week in every video that I've posted, and I've been saying this for the past 6 months. Every time we've had one of these major dumps, I've said I still think we see all-time high this year. So whether or not we go to all-time high from here, we dump to here and then go to all-time high, or we have like a significant dump and then go to all-time high, I don't know yet. But in any scenario, I still think this entire pattern, okay, so whether it's here, or we come down here or something, I still think this pattern ends in a large move to the upside. I don't think we've gone sideways for damn near 6+ months to be topped. I do think that this eventually resolves higher. So from a spot perspective, I haven't sold any of my spot. Still holding my spots Bitcoin, my spot Ethereum, my spot Solana. I've unfortunately held a bunch of spot altcoins through massive drawdowns that are now bouncing back near kind of break-even levels. So that's kind of high time frame thoughts, and I gave you some low time frame ideas as well for what I'm potentially watching for. Now, a couple of other things to note here. So Bitcoin dominance still has not turned over at all. So we've seen some crazy pumps on altcoins. Bitcoin dominance is still firmly in an uptrend and still firmly bullish. Now, do I believe that this is going to eventually nuke? Yes. Like, I don't see this as continuing up forever. I do think that this eventually breaks down, and that's when you're going to get your crazy alt season. That's when Ethereum's going to go to all-time high, Solana's going to go to all-time high, crazy alt season, right? But it hasn't yet. It doesn't mean you can't position in altcoins. Lots of altcoins have done really well. Look at Sui, right? Like, this thing made a new all-time high, I think, or damn near close. Ripping. Sui versus BTC. Bullish. Very bullish move since the beginning of August. So lots of altcoins have outperformed. This would be Sui versus Ethereum. It's smoked Ethereum. This is Sui versus Solana. Okay, so lots of altcoins have done well, but there's plenty that you look at something like WIF, the hat's still on. The hat's still on. If you bought any point basically before June, you're like maybe at break even. So really, like, yes, it's up a ton in the last month. I cannot deny that. It's up over 100% in the last month. But unless you bought it in August and are selling it now or holding it now, a lot of people are underwater on these altcoins still. There's people who are like, hey, TIA looks good now. TIA is up 50% since the start of September. So in the last month, it's up 50%. That's a pretty good return. But if you bought TIA any month before the start of September, you're massively underwater. If you bought TIA in May, you're still down 60%. If you bought TIA in July, you could still be down 20, 30%. So the one thing you've got to be careful with altcoins, anytime alts go up, your standard crypto Twitter person is going to go and find tweets about all the altcoins they've tweeted about in the past and be like, look at these fucking altcoins. I am the altcoin messiah. Altcoins are ripping. We're all getting rich. However, many of these altcoins, people who bought them just even a few months ago, are still underwater pretty significantly. So unless you bought those altcoins that you're bragging about, like within the last month, many of them are still down compared to August, July, June, May, definitely April. Like, you know what I mean? Some of these altcoins are trading at prices from a year ago. TIA is trading at the same price it was trading at in November of last year. It's great to be bullish on altcoins, right? And I think altcoins are the way for many people to make a bunch of money, and meme coins have been going crazy, and we're going to talk about that. But you do got to be careful, just at least looking at Twitter and people saying, look how much this altcoin's up 20% today. But it's like the altcoin looks like this, and then it does this, and they are celebrating this, even though they've been shilling it since here. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's the case for all, but that's the case for many. All right? So just be careful. Now, I'm not saying you cannot buy alts and that there's not a good time to buy alts. I actually think TIA versus Bitcoin, right? I talked about this on a previous video. The selling is absolutely slowing down. I do think that this thing is going to curve up. The question is when. But once this thing starts putting in bullish market structure versus Bitcoin, that's a good time to buy it and to move your alts from alt USD to alt BTC, right? Or from Bitcoin to alts, or from Bitcoin to Solana, Bitcoin to Ethereum, and then those pairs to your smaller alts. You want to make sure that whatever altcoin you're looking at, it's outperforming Bitcoin, ETH, Solana at the very least. Because if it's not outperforming these, then you're better off being in these, and these are way less risky. Anyways, okay, so let's get into a couple other coins here. So Ethereum, I still think, looks fucking shitty and weak. We've just been dribbling down. Every little glimpse of hope just gets annihilated. So another lower low on the monthly chart. I do believe that, the bottom forms somewhere, in here, like somewhere in this area, whether it's this order block here, I don't know. But I think in this area between here and 0.03, this consolidation, I do think the bottom probably forms, but this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about, right? Ethereum could go up 15% tomorrow, and this might do this. And there's going to be .eth people being like, the bottom's in, blah, blah, blah. But it's still been getting shit on by Bitcoin for a year straight. You know what I mean? So that's how you have to view all of your alts. If you're critical of Ethereum BTC looking like shit, but you're bullish on some other alt, you better make sure your alt is bullish versus BTC, or you're just as bad as the fucking .eth guys, right? But Ethereum BTC still in a downtrend, still looks quite weak. I look at this Ethereum chart, and obviously we talked about the long down here. I said this is a good TP area, decent TP right into that old low there. But looking at this Ethereum chart, like on the monthly and the weekly, I just have a feeling that we might have some unfinished business below these range lows. I don't know, not certain, but Ethereum is substantially weaker than Bitcoin. Bitcoin range lows are down here, right? So look at the price of Bitcoin on September 2nd, 52K. Ethereum on September 2nd was at 2,100. Ethereum is up 12% today relative to that September low. Okay. Where's Bitcoin relative to its September low? It's up 18%. So what's the difference there? 6%. How much is Ethereum BTC down since September 2nd, right? It's going to be about the difference between those two numbers there. This is the comparison of those two charts. So Bitcoin looks stronger to me structurally. Now this can trade lower here, but I do think there's a pretty good chance that this low is in. I don't know about this one, probably in. I think there's a good chance that we might take out this low still if we do get a little bit of a pullback, right? But I don't see these lows really being at risk. Doesn't mean we can't go down there. We can, but I'm pretty sure, if you bought around 50K, sub 50K, you're safe. Now, Ethereum, on the other hand, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin pulls back 5%, like Bitcoin goes back to 58K. So not even that deep of a pullback. That Ethereum nukes 10% just because it looks so weak relatively and takes out these lows. So I'm not completely convinced that we're done at the range lows here on Ethereum at least. Now, from a buying perspective for spot or just for like a long-term swing, I think if we get sub 2K, even sub 2200, like if you get Ethereum between 2000 and 2200, I think that's a pretty good bet that it eventually again trades at 4K, and I'm willing to bet some size that, you know, you can get a pretty chunky 2x there. So that's something I'll be watching for sure. Same goes for Solana, right? Like Solana, if we come back down close to 100, I think that that's a pretty good buy for a 2x, like plus more. Because Solana is definitely going higher than 210. Once Bitcoin makes an all-time high again and alts go, like I think Solana goes $300-400. So, you know, if you can get it close to 100, this is a major coin. You can get in lots of size in just spot and get a pretty comfy 2, 3, 4x. So we'll have to wait and see, right? But out of these pairs, the big three, Bitcoin's the only one that made the internal market structure shift, right? So it broke this internal high here, but Solana did not, and Ethereum did not. Ethereum did not make a higher high. Solana did not make a higher high. Many altcoins did not make higher highs. What the fuck's going on, everybody? Ich bin gut. What the fuck's that mean? I haven't seen Jane in a while, man. Jane might have passed away. We don't know. Jane might have been so lonely without me streaming that she literally passed away. Jane got liquidated. Listen, at least Zoran kept to his word and deleted his account. I mean, you gotta respect that. There are two creds within you. One is British, the other one is a bear. Both terrible. Fuck you. Go away. 34 years old, and I'm just trying to become a little dirty trading content whore. What's that about? I don't know. Why did I sell PopCap? Because I'm retarded. That's why I sold PopCap. We do need a neck coin. If I ever go broke, you'll know because I'll launch neck coin. That's how you'll know. Again, 3-4 years, it's underperformed. So it's like, does Link do more stuff? Does Link have a purpose? Like, I know it's got like some sort of oracle or something. I don't fucking know. Why didn't you guys tell me to buy this coin? And then I wouldn't feel so bad about PopCat. Holy guacamole, bro. That is insane. The bull run's just getting started. We have so many coins that have done multiple 1000% returns. But the bull run's just getting started. Don't worry. What's 12 plus 12? Anyone? Anyone at all? 24. What is 24? It's a daily. Why I think this is a good TP level, why I said, hey, I think this is an interesting... Who said 21? 21? LeBron James? Electrolytes.